Well, here we go. Welcome into a live Locked On Pistons squad show. Jake Riepma alongside Khahil and Lindsey Hunter. I kick it to you first. One guess what today's show's about.
Trying to stay positive.
All is not lost. This may be a blessing in disguise for the Pistons. Hopefully.
This is Locked On's Pistons Squad Show, the twice-a-week show where Pistons talk gets real. No filters, no fluff. Just raw takes, sharp opinions, and straight-up passion for the game. The way only Locked On Podcast Network knows how. Let's drop some dimes and squad up. The Pistons Squad Show starts now.
And here we go. Welcome into a live Locked On Pistons squad show. You got Khahil, the host of Locked On Pistons, two-time NBA champion Lindsey Hunter, and myself, Jake Riepma. I think that intro is about as appropriate as it's ever been, especially the part that says where Pistons talk gets real. Doesn't get much more real than learning your star player has been diagnosed with a collapsed lung. That's what today's show will be about on the number one sports podcast platform, the Locked On Podcast Network. Today's show is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Have your cake and drink it too. Birthday cake flavors back. No fork needed. Vanilla cakey flavor. Caffeinated kick. No sugar. It's party time. Order now at 5hourenergy.com. or on Amazon. And you know what, fellas, this is good because the show's still relatively new. We're all feeling each other out and learning how we react to different things. Koo jumped on and morale is very low. Lindsey's the voice of positivity. I think I'm somewhere in between, but man, what a surprise this morning. We'll get the negativity out of the way first. Koo, I'm kicking it to you first.
All right, so yeah, we're gonna need Lindsey to be the positive, reinforce, some happiness here because I'm all the way down, man. So I woke up. I was passed out. It is what it is. I get multiple texts. My phone's going crazy. I wake up. First thing I see, Cade's out. I'm like, dude, there's no way. There's just no way I just woke up to this news, bro. There's just no shot. I was a little late with it because, like I said, I was asleep. So I follow a few sports doctors on Twitter, on YouTube, whatever. So I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, okay, come on. Someone has to say something. No one had really said anything at the moment. So, look, it's not a crazy serious injury to the point where it's not like a torn ACL or it's like nothing like that. So it's not the worst thing. Like if you want to look at it from a positive lens, I guess. But I'm this team. If Cade's out the rest of the season, which I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on the doctor I had on the podcast. Yeah. Jeff Stotts. I'm sorry. Jeff Stotts. I had an injury analyst on the podcast today, and he talked about the injury and what you should expect, how it happens, what's the recovery time, stuff like that. And we did get the Pistons saying that he'll be reevaluated in 2 weeks. That usually means with the Pistons, if you're reevaluating someone in 2 weeks, usually means we'll get another update in 2 weeks that he'll be out maybe 1 to 2 more weeks or something like that's right. Probably what that means. Either way, if Cade's out the rest of the regular season, I'm very, very concerned for the team. This is a team that since All-Star break, we've already been on the podcast every week talking about this team needs to get back to their defense. They need to get back to how they've been playing. They haven't looked their best since the All-Star break. And even against teams that maybe aren't the greatest, they haven't looked their best. I mean, so we were already talking about that, and that was with Cade healthy. And last episode, I think we just got done talking about how Stu's out for a week and Asar's just getting back. He doesn't look like himself yet. And now Cade's out too. It's just, all of that combined with the fact that the Pistons offense, when Cade's on the floor, the Pistons offense, they have a 121 offensive rating. That would be the best in the NBA. That doesn't mean they're the best offense if Cade actually played 48 minutes. It just means that when he's on the floor, they're a very good offense. He makes them a very good offense. And when he's off the floor, they sink to a bottom 5 offense when he's off the floor. This was a team that was already really tugging the line of testing out how much limited offensive skills you can have while relying heavily on your defense. It had been working, but they had been, walking the line. Without Cade, I feel like you're really just jumping over that line. Like I don't know if there's another contending team in the NBA that relies on one guy to create their offense as much as Cade does with the Pistons. So without Cade, if he misses the rest of the year, I'm concerned, man. They're 3.5 games above Boston. Can they hold on to the 1 seed if he were to miss the rest of the year? They have the tiebreaker, so that helps. I don't know. I'm concerned. I'm worried.
Well, cool. I think we're all concerned. We don't, especially not knowing how long Cade will be out. That's the biggest unknown and the biggest fear for everyone. But there have been stretches where during the season where Cade was out and our guys stepped up and played well. So you have to look at it from that standpoint too. Now, being out an extended period of time is different than being missing a couple of games. So it is going to be challenging. It is going to be in somewhat a challenge for JB to figure out how to manufacture offense without Cade. But one thing that never should change is our defensive principles and our the way we guard people and the way we how aggressive we are on defense. So I hope this is a chance for the other guys to really get in sync defensively, because that's what we're going to have to depend on while Cade is out, is to really be a great defensive team again. And hopefully that can help us manufacture points and we can steal a couple of games and hold off the Celtics, who are gaining momentum as we speak. So I'm a little more optimistic, and hopefully, Cade won't be out such a long time. Hopefully not the remainder of the season, and he can get back and we can plug and play and be ready to go into the postseason.
Yeah, I think the other thing too, just real quick, Jake, is that I feel bad for Cade too, because he's probably not going to make the requirements for all NBA teams now. Like I feel like last year was like, I guess, his breakout season where he came onto the scene. I guess you call it last year, but really this year was his name was going to be next to Wemby's on first team All NBA, SGA.
This was his superstar breakout year. Last year was his, coming of age year. Hey, I'm here. I'm an all-star. I'm one of those guys. This year was, hey, I'm really one of those guys. I'm a top 5 player in this league. So, that is a bummer. That is a bummer.
Yeah, in fact, he's going to have to. I mean, unless I think it's pretty unrealistic to think he'll get to 65 games. He'd have to come back, I think, in 2 weeks exactly, and I don't think that's realistic. So, him missing out on All NBA and not having any awards or anything to go with the season he's had this year, I think it's just removing the Pistons from that really sucks for him. I feel really bad for him, especially I know there's a lot of people that are like, if you don't play 65 games, you just shouldn't win it. Then it's part of the rules. Sure, but I think one of the reasons why there's some people against the 65 game rule is that it's not just about the in-season stuff. 10 years from now, whenever Cade retires, that stuff gets used for looking back at a guy's career and be like, hey, how good was he? How great was he? What was he better than this guy? Was he better than that guy? Should he be a Hall of Famer and stuff? And people will look at 2026 season and just naturally see, oh, no All NBA team. He wasn't even an All NBA guy. And it's like, no, he actually was probably an All NBA first kind of guy. He just, suffered a legit injury at the end of the year and just missed the game. I just feel terrible for him.
Well, my fault, Jake, to keep dwelling on that. But cool. The things you said are absolutely true. But I think it's hard because you have so many teams that just sit guys for no apparent reason. And I think, something had to be done, and we can all blame this on Popovich because he started all this, resting guys and guys not showing up, guys flying home on trips, and I love Pop. I think Popovich is the greatest coach ever. I think he's the number 1 coach in the NBA history.
He's great.
He is to me. But he did start this trend of resting guys, sending guys home. So something had to be done. Unfortunately, it will affect one of our guys if, in fact, Cade does miss 65. Doesn't play but 65 games. So, I don't know. Maybe there's an exception to the rule if it's a legitimate injury. You never know.
Right. Yeah. There's always going to be those outliers. And Ku, I'm glad you brought up the postseason award component to all this, because my mind went there. My mind went to, okay, who are some other guys that have dealt with something like this, and what was their timetable like as far as a return. But I did want to mix in before we get into that, because I've got a list of other NBA guys that went through something similar, what their timetable was like. But I want to give the people a chance to sound off a little bit in the comments what they're thinking. That's the beauty of the live
comments
show.
Are sad. They're sad.
Yeah. So that's why we got Lindsey, man. He's here to bring hope to the people because, like, I saw this comment here. If you're watching on YouTube, from Great Penguin 445, every second is a second closer to the sun exploding. And listen, that's the beauty. This is like group therapy or something of that nature.
Speaking of the sun exploding, wasn't there a meteorite that landed in Ohio?
Was it? Was there? What?
I didn't have that one on the radar, but
This year's just cooked, bro. This year just
yeah.
we got meteors in the earth. We got conspiracy theorists all of a sudden being proven right with stuff this year. We got K like it's just we're just cooked, dog. It's just over with, bro.
Yeah, so I'm flashing some of the comments on the screen. RIP to our season, boys. I'm not quite there. But I did feel this
one. Fell to my knees in a minor
parking lot. I fell to my knees in a minor parking lot. There was one positive one in here. Here we go. This is from David QZZZ. This is a bummer about Cade, but I think we will hold it down. These guys will be playing for Cade and Stu. So let's go there, Lindsey. I'll kick it to you first. What does as another guy in a locker room, when you hear this news of your leader, your unquestioned heart and soul of the team, what is that, what is the kind of responsibilities that put on other guys? And obviously everybody reacts differently, but what are those conversations that are going on right now between the rest of the guys that are healthy?
Well, guys have to step up. Everybody knows they have to step up, and not necessarily trying to be something that you're not. You just have to do your job and your role even more so. I see a lot of, I got to go. No, nobody's going to replace Cade. Nobody's going to replace that 25 plus points, 10 assists. Nobody's going to do that. So collectively as a team, though, we just have to be a little sharper. We just have to be a little more aggressive. We just have to be a little, pay attention to details even more so than we've done in the past because we're missing our key guy. I remember we lost Rip for a while, and nobody's going to replace that 20 points a night. But collectively, we pulled it together. We still won games, and we played well. How long is that sustainable? We don't know. But we do know that our guys have stepped up in the past and played well without Cade. And they're going to be asked to do that now. And for guys that are trying to prove themselves, for Sasser, guys like Sasser, they're going to get opportunities to play extended minutes. So now is the time to really, put your stamp on how you can be an asset to this team and step up defensively and offensively and make this time worthwhile for you as well. It'll help the Pistons in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're going to need everyone to step up. Like Lindsey said, no one's going to step up and all of a sudden average 25 and 10. Like that's not, you can't ask one person to do something like that. So you're going to need everybody to show up and take on a little bit more of a load. I think this really falls on two people's shoulders. I agree that it's going to take everybody, and Sasser 100% is going to get more of an opportunity. Danis is going to get more of an opportunity again. Maybe even Karras gets a little bit more leeway, like a little more minutes. Like those guys are going to get more of a chance. But I think this really falls on two guys' shoulders that need to step up, and that's Jalen Duren and Asar Thompson. Those are your second and third best players. Duren, you have been last 5 games. I think you're averaging 25 a game since the All-Star break. You're averaging 23 plus a game. You have been dominating teams in the paint. You have been showing us this shot creation, this ability to get to the basket, your own self creation, without just having to rely on lobs from Cade and, just dump offs. A lot of it is, you get a lot of that, but you have shown us that you can do all this stuff yourself too, as well. So you said after the game that, if Cade's out, I'm ready to take on the burden. I think they're really going to have to rely on Duren. I think they're going to run a lot of their offense through the high post, through DHOs, through isolations for him, attacking downhill from the high post area. I think they're going to really rely on Duren a ton. And I think that's right to do. I hope that we see not just the scoring, but some of that passing that I talked about, some of that, because the teams are going to show a lot of bodies to him now. So he's going to have to be able to make these reads and find these open shooters. I think that's another area that just is going to be tough, is that Cade created so many looks for their shooters. Someone's going to have to help do that. So Duren, number one, and then Asar. Look, there's games where Asar can get away with just taking 5 shots and he just feels like he's an afterthought on offense. And it's like, all right, well, if that's the game that we're playing out, it is what it is. You're our best defender. Just play defense. You create our offense. You do all this other stuff. That's great for us. if you end up just not being a part of the offense, really scoring, like, well, that's fine with us. We don't have to do all this other stuff. That can't be the case, I don't think, right now. They need to be, I feel like, talking to Asar right now. We need you we need you to be aggressive. We're going to put the ball in your hands more. We need you to be trying to get downhill. We need you to be more aggressive as a scorer, as aggressive as a playmaker. Like, we need you to step up. These are their second and third best players. They're both up for extensions this offseason. I think this is where you rely on your two next best players to really take on some of that load.
I totally agree. But I also think this will show within himself, the other areas of the other aspects. And he's young, guys. He's what, 22?
Yeah, 22.
Like, this guy has so much growth and so much upside. Like, I always picture him as a Karl Malone type, Amari Stoudemire. If he can get that free throw line jump shot to be pure, because I don't want him shooting threes. I don't want him doing that. I don't care how many stretch fives and all. I don't want him. I love the development, the way he dominates the paint, and he is a rare commodity in this new age NBA. So if he could just develop that free throw line jumper and knock that down consistently, where guys have to really come out and guard him because we know he can get to the rim and we know he can punish you in the paint, that's the next thing for him to kind of expand upon, is shooting that little mid-range jumper and really having the defense, at his disposal.
No, absolutely. I want to continue discussing this because obviously it's the news of the day. We'll look at some other guys that had this injury, what their timetable on the return was like, and where the Pistons continue to go from here. So don't go anywhere. We're just getting started on a live Locked On Pistons squad show back in 60 seconds. This episode of the Locked On Pistons Squad Show is brought to you by our good friends over at Wayfair. Spring is the perfect time to refresh your space and make your home better for you. Whether it's updating a room, maybe you're adding some outdoor furniture, or finally organizing that cluttered corner, it's a great chance to bring fresh new look into your home. That's where Wayfair comes in, from furniture and decor to organization solutions and outdoor essentials. Wayfair makes it easy to find pieces that match your style and your budget. And you know what? Listen, it's not my area of expertise, but I love shopping at Wayfair because how simple the process is. You can filter by style, size, and even price, so you find exactly what works for you and your space. Thousands of reviews make it easy to shop with confidence, and options like easy assembly, I always select that one, installation, and it makes the whole experience smooth from order to setup. So whether it's a new desk for home office, some storage solutions, outdoor pieces for spring, it's all easy to find something that fits both your style and your daily routine. So find furniture, decor, and essentials that fit your unique style and budget. Head over to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's Wayfair, Wayfair.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. All right, Locked On Pistons Squad Show. Jake Riepma, Lindsey Hunter, and Khahil with you for the next 40 minutes or so, approximately. We'll see where the program takes us, continuing to break down the news of the day, Cade Cunningham and the collapsed lung. So, not a doctor. We all know that. Nobody on this show is a doctor, right? All right, so this is all where we're just dabbling at the medical information that's out there. CJ McCollum was the big name that a lot of people have referenced in terms of a player that had something similar to this. I immediately thought of TJ Watt for the Steelers from the NFL. He had this same thing. And then Tyrod Taylor, the quarterback that has his own team doctor do that in a surgery gone wrong. So fortunately, I hate to say fortunately, but it wasn't that. It wasn't, friendly fire in Cade's case. But with CJ McCollum in 2023, he missed 12 games over 3.5 weeks. And oddly enough, CJ McCollum also had this happen in 2021, where he missed 18 games over 6 weeks. Terrence Jones in 2015, 6 games in 2 weeks. So it's a little bit all over the place, but the reevaluation piece of it in 2 weeks, I think, is kind of where we put our attention. And, it's almost like you push pause, and then the reevaluation part in 2 weeks is what you set your mind to.
Go ahead, Lindsey.
Yeah, I mean, the part about it is unknown. We don't know how severe this injury was. I'm trying to figure out how it happened. Some of those guys that you mentioned, Jake, they were from like punctured. Some, a lot of guys were taking shots and they punctured, that way or whatever. Cade's, I would imagine, was from getting hit, probably in the ribs or something like that. And so we don't know. So I think that's the biggest thing. And reevaluation is going to be crucial, because then we'll know exactly where he is and how soon we can get him back. But right now, we're in this realm of not knowing, and that's the crazy part, and that's what scares everybody. But I'm confident that he'll be all right, and he'll come back and be 100%, and hopefully our guys step up while he's out. So that's the biggest thing for me. They don't know. No one knows right now. Only Cade and the doctors, and probably they don't even know until they reevaluate him.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I had Jeff's thoughts on the podcast earlier for a quick 12 minutes. Again, if anyone doesn't know him, he's an injury analyst for Smart and RotoWire. He's also an athletic trainer. So he came on there and talked with me a little bit about it. So he gave me some stuff to where I can say something for anyone who hasn't listened to that one. One, like, like you mentioned, Lindsey, like I had a friend reach out to me who played college football, and he was like, he must have been like stabbed with a shot, or like he must have been getting shots or something. It must have been like that, because he had a few teammates. He said he saw a few people have that happen to him when he was playing college football. And I was like, no way, man, no way. So that it doesn't sound like that's what happened.
No.
But Jeff's thoughts pointed out that injury that Cade suffered, it was like you can have it happen from blunt impact. You can get impact, and that's why you see him like Cade grabbing his left ribs, because like you mentioned, Lindsey, a lot of times when people have this happen, oftentimes there's like a fractured rib as well that like kind of punctures punctures the lung. So like Jeff was mentioning that it's really, like you mentioned, like kind of all over the place. Like the most optimistic scenario is like the Terrence Jones situation, but that's more of like an outlier rather than the rule. That's usually anywhere from like 3-ish weeks to like maybe 6 weeks. But you're kind of just all over the place. It's just it depends on how this person heals or how they feel afterwards. Also, you have to consider getting his cardio back and getting back to, he's going to be missing time, and it's obviously dealing with one of his lungs. So it's like, you got to take that all in consideration as well. It's tough, man. It's absolutely tough. I'm hoping that it's just a 3 to 4 week injury here. Like you mentioned, Jake, CJ missed 6 weeks the second time. He was gone for a minute. We don't, like Lindsey said, though, that we don't really know much. We just know that he'll be reevaluated in 2 weeks. And we'll just have to, we have to kind of just wait and see what happens. I'm going to be talking with another doctor later on for the podcast, and I'll ask them some questions as well. But it really does just feel like all over the place. No one really knows an exact time frame. It feels like it's one of those, just depending on that situation, how that person, you can't really know for sure. So it's tough. We're just going to have to wait and see what the next update we get is. Oh, and I guess the other thing I should mention is that Jeff mentioned that sometimes you end up realizing, like as time goes on, that maybe he has a bruised rib or something, because a lot of times that comes with the injury. He said that most of the time you see it, like they find it early, like when they give the update, you'll hear like, and he suffered a little bit of a bruised rib or whatever, blah, blah. But he said sometimes you can deal with, like in a few weeks or a week from now, it'd be like, oh yeah, my ribs really bother me too. And sometimes that's a byproduct of it as well. So that's something I'm a little concerned about too. Like, what if he's like, dealing with something else too now? He's, bumped and bruised. But you just gotta wait. We just gotta wait. No need to speculate, but it's tough.
Yeah, Koo, you talking to all these different doctors. I mean, you're going to be halfway to a degree by the time.
I'm just trying to give fans the best understanding of what's going on as possible, man.
Yeah, at least like a physician's assistant by the end of this stretch or so. I think that's only two.
I actually watched your episode talking to the one doctor.
Oh, appreciate it, man. Appreciate you.
Look at that. I love it. All right, we'll mix in a few more comments and then kind of turn the page into where this team is at right now. Back at it tonight against the Wizards. But we haven't mentioned this name yet, and it came through in the comments from Freight Train J, Jenkins has to step up, especially after his contract signing. And I mean, that's the obvious. Here's an opportunity for him. And I hate to say opportunity, but the way it's, bestowed upon him, where here's a role that he can fill, and it's there for the taking. So Lindsey, I'll kick it to you first, because that's something that you have a lot of experience in, and how a guard can make an impact, in a more prominent role. And for Jenkins, what should that mindset be?
Well, his mindset should be, it should have always been the same way. But now, there's going to be more of a spotlight on you because of your situation. You signed a new contract. Now, you kind of took a dip in your play after that. So, fans are going to be fans. Everybody's going to always throw. When you say Jenkins, they're going to say what? Hey, man, he hasn't played well since he signed his new deal. You know what I'm saying? That's the NBA, man. It's just the reality of it. So, he has to put all that. You can't read your press clippings. You can't read. I'm telling my age. I'm saying press clippings.
Hey, I had a coach that said that all the time too at Northwood, and we're like, Coach, we did everything on our phone.
When you say that to young kids, they're like, "What are you talking about press clippings?
Yeah, what's a newspaper?"
Right? They don't know, have an idea. But you can't be on social media reading what people are saying about you. You can't be reading all the news about yourself, because they're going to be negative. They're going to be positive. There's going to be a lot of things that could impact your mindset. So just focus on doing the work. Make sure you're prepared. And go out there and play free and play the way that you know how you can play, so you can help this team. And I think most guys will do that. I think, guys on this team have been resilient all year. And we've always talked about how, guys missing shows how deep the Pistons were. So now we're going to really have to rely on that depth. We're going to really have to rely on guys stepping up, being prepared and being ready to step in and, as a collective group, hold the fort down until Cade gets back.
Yeah, I mean, Daniels is going to have a big opportunity in front of him for sure. I mean, you saw at the last game where it was Wizards again, I believe, that Cade got hurt when this all happened. Daniels started the second half. It wasn't Sasser, it wasn't LeVert. So I won't be shocked if JB goes with Daniels starting moving forward. And he hasn't played well, I won't say since the contract, but he had last month or so, he hasn't played as well. And before this last game, he had been taking out the rotation. Sasser had taken the minutes, and he just didn't play in the previous game. So he gets another chance here to kind of reassert himself into the rotation. And like Lindsey said, like at the beginning of this year, like the first 2.5 months, 3 months of this season, how deep this team was what made them so good. That's how they got to where they were. Like the whole Cade would miss a game, they still win. Asar would miss a game, they'd win. Duran would miss a game, they'd win. Like that was like a big part of what made them who they were. And we just haven't seen that same level of depth since like really the All-Star break. So it's like we need to see that pop back up, and Daniels will have his chance to do so. If he can play well, that would be great for the Pistons, obviously. But Daniels is going to get his chance. Marcus Sasser, he'll get his chance. So chance for everybody, but they definitely need Daniels to step up for sure. Lindsey, I want to ask you, did you read stuff about you after games? Like, did you guys' locker room, did you guys ever pay attention to anything people were saying at all?
I never did. Isaiah Thomas told me when I first got here, and my dad would always tell me this in college or whatever. Dude, stay out of the newspapers. I don't care how great you played. He said, but you need to stay on an even keel, and good, bad, or indifferent, be the same person all the time. And I tried to live by that because, coming from college and going to the NBA, it's a whole different monster. You get people saying things about you, your family. I mean, people are cruel, man.
Yeah.
Dude, people are cruel.
Like, people are crazy for sure. Man,
I'm telling you. So I've heard things people said about me that I was like, if we were in the streets, dude, I would fight you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would physically harm you.
Yeah. And no.
I'm saying, like, they get crazy because I don't know. It's just the nature of the business, the nature of, and fan has always been short for what? Fanatic.
Yep, exactly.
People get a little beside themselves sometimes.
Yeah, and I'll nerd out for a second. I think the evolution of the way content is delivered now has only added to that, where keyboard warriors, social media, fan-sided media even, where you've got all of these different – I mean, it's it's the type of content people want to consume. And, it doesn't have to be AP style or any of the journalism nerdy stuff anymore.
Right,
like
right.
guys talking ball, but that also lends itself to saying just about anything, and you're behind a keyboard. So I totally find that fascinating, where, to your point, Lindsey, some of these guys, they'd never say that in person, but they'll just type it out, and that's, we could probably do a whole episode.
And and Jake, I remember we were talking about this before Koo jumped on. There was somebody put a cartoon edit out about KD.
Right.
What?
KD versus the double team. It was crazy. I'm like,
hey, I didn't see this.
Dude, you got to look it up. How they do the little from Disney and Pixar. KD versus the double team, and KD was crying like, "Oh, I don't know what to do." Like, it was. These people are cruel, man. I'm telling you, it's bad.
Yeah, people got a lot of time and way too many creative.
Way too much time.
Flowing there. But all right, let's turn the page.
I looked that up.
Yeah, who's going to do that during the break? We're going to keep the lights on, and we'll recap the last game and look ahead to tonight's game. Don't go anywhere. It's the Locked On Pistons Squad Show.
I gotta find that. What is it?
This episode of the Locked On Pistons Squad Show is brought to you by our good friends over at ZocDoc. All right, you've heard me talk about ZocDoc before, so listen up, because what do we all struggle with at times? It's finding that perfect doctor, one you actually like and can feel like you may be discovering a diamond in the rough. That's how tough it can be. And you want someone who's in network, nearby, and has availability. But you also want a doctor who listens, makes you feel comfortable, and explains things clearly. That kind of doctor does exist, and finding them is easy with ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book high-quality in-network doctors so you can find someone you love without all the hassle. We're talking about booking in-network appointments. More than 150,000 providers across all 50 states, covering over 200 specialties, from primary care and dentistry to dermatology and eye care. And look, I'll admit it, I've put off doctor appointments longer than I should in the past, and part of it was the challenge of work, life, and everything else. But today, it's easy. It's easy not to delay and easy to find the right doctor. ZocDoc makes the process simple. You can search by specialty or symptoms and actually build a care team that works for you. You can see real-time availability and book instantly with no phone calls. I love that part. And no waiting on hold. You can also read verified patient reviews so you feel confident choosing a doctor you actually like. And whether you want to go in person or do a video visit, ZocDoc makes it easy either way. So stop putting off those doctor appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA. That's ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA to find and instantly book a doctor you love today. That's ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA, ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA. And thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this message. All right, did we find the Disney Pixar KD getting double teamed?
I haven't seen it yet.
I'm trying to send it to you guys.
All right, we'll push that to the post show meeting. Then we'll do that. We'll do that in our post show production meeting. But the Pistons did play some basketball, and if you missed us live for the first half hour of the show, I promise you we talked all about the Cade Cunningham injury. So if you're listening to the audio only version, you want to check that out. Just rewind. But 130-117, the final in this one. Jalen Duren scoring a career high 36 points. That's a good place to start, especially considering the news from this morning where the focal point of the offense will now entirely turn to Duren, and the task of kind of continuing this train without Cade Cunningham, it doesn't fall squarely on his shoulders, but certainly more than some other players. And he'll be asked to really carry the load. And Koo, and Lindsey, obviously we've talked about this at length already, but what you saw in that game against the Wizards, and I know the outlier opponent, the Washington Wizards, they gave up 100 points to Bam, but is what it is. Duren looked really good offensively.
Yeah, I mean, he was destroying Anthony Gill, and I mean, look, Anthony Gill's not big, so like, look, the Wizards are the Wizards, so like, it is like, it's tough. And look, man, it's tough to draw anything from Wizards games because the Wizards are just like, I don't know. But I mean, what you saw from Duren, I thought, if you're going to try to take anything, what you saw from Duren is one, he obviously can dominate anybody that's smaller than him, anyone that's not up to his level strength wise. He's able to just bully by you. And also you saw him, I talked about this a little bit on the podcast 2 days ago or after the game recap one, where like Duren not only has like powerful moves, he also has finesse moves. He's very agile. He's able to skinny up and get through gaps. There was one time he caught the ball on the roll. Instead of just trying to power through two guys tagging on him, he just skinnied up, slipped through, and just went to a finger roll, which is really, that was a pretty dope move. There's another one where he just walks down the court and he just gets to the 3-point line. And he does a tween, as in cross as he crosses. It's just like, dog, like what? it's like, so he's able to do different things. He can power by you. He has good footwork. He has really good balance. I think that's really gotten a lot better since his rookie year. His balance and his agility around the rim. Able to go finesse. He's able to finish with both hands. I think, Lindsey, you brought this up a few podcasts ago, him being able to finish with both hands. There was one finish. He had a crossover, rip through, and then finish with his left hand. I mean, that's guard stuff. That's wingman stuff. So if anything that you can take away, I mean, is he going to average 36? Probably not, but is he showing that but we've seen it all year, really, that he has a legit offensive game of self-creation that he's improved upon 100%. And he's very versatile in how he gets to the rim and how he gets his buckets.
Right, cool. And I'm glad you talked about that because I've watched him last year. I remember I was doing radio for the Pistons, and I would be there early watching his pregame workouts. And he would, the things you're talking about, he would be out there working on all those things, dribbling the ball up full court, going through his little moves, working on his bag, and I'm sitting there like, why is this big guy out here doing all this? Get down low. Let me see some up and unders. Let me see some jump hooks. Let me see some fadeaway jumpers. Let me see. That's what I'm saying to myself. But in all actuality, it's really helped him. And he does have to be as big as he is, he does have a really good handle. He's crafty for a big guy. And it's all being, he's putting it all on showcase right now. And it's going to have to be times 10 with Cade being out. He's going to really have to show a lot, and I think he's going to start understanding how to play out of double teams because he's going to get doubled now. So that's something new. But I just hope as a collective group, everybody kind of gets together and galvanizes the team, and just it's not about one person. It's not. Yeah, we're going to ask Duren to do a lot, but we all have to do a lot. We all have to be great defensively. We all have to give that much more effort and be that much more energetic because we lost our leader and our star.
Is Lindsey suggesting that we might get a Disney Pixar Part 2 with the Pistons now? How the Pistons solved the double teams from Disney Pixar.
I just sent you guys that Pixar KD thing.
Oh yeah, no, I'll have to watch this.
Yeah, that's gonna be the first thing I check out post show. But let's look at the upcoming schedule here. Obviously, Wizards are the game tonight. One more in DC before returning home for a lengthy homestand. It looks like we got 4 home games there. So I don't think we need to spend any more time talking about the Washington Wizards. So Golden State Warriors up next, and then the big one Monday night against the Lakers, who all of a sudden are super hot. And I won't do my Luka thing. We don't need to get into all that, but he's playing really well right now. And
did you guys watch the last game?
Yes.
Killer Luka's back.
Look, that some of those shots and moves here in the fourth quarter, man. That was some, bro.
Well, I'll let you in on this. This is what we were talking about this morning on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas here. He is one of those players that is wired that way between the ears, where he has to be that almost like he's a better player when he's angry. And and I touched a little bit on I don't want to do the personal life side of things, but he's got stuff going on. And all of a sudden,
we all know, everybody knows.
Right. He's got, and it is what it is. Like when the product on the court has been what it has the last couple of games, he's as dominant of a scorer as anybody. And it's been on full display the last couple of games.
No, he has been, he was cooking. So I was watching him last night, watching him and Bron was cooking last night.
Bro, Bron caught one way like an alley-oop way back here. He's like, bro, what?
He was like 9 for 10 at one point.
Yeah.
Like he had hit like 8 or 9, the best that he's ever done in his career.
At 41, man, it's crazy.
They were cooking, bro. They were cooking last night like no other. Can they keep that up throughout the playoffs? I don't think so, because they can't guard water. So they're just gonna have to try to outscore people. And when you get to OKC and Denver and teams like that, that's not gonna work. San Antonio, not gonna work.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah,
probably not.
LCA is going to be packed, though. It'll be a great atmosphere.
Yeah, that will be a good one.
Yeah,
for sure. Cool. You got any? Are you going to be, either of you guys going to be in the building for any of the upcoming games?
I'll be. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be credentialed for the Lakers, Atlanta, not Minnesota, Toronto, then Minnesota games. I think I'll be there for those ones.
Yeah, I may step in and show my face for a couple of them.
I love it. And then after that, not getting too far into the future of the schedule, but you got the Pelicans to wrap up the homestand after the Hawks, and then on the road to Minnesota, and that big one against the Thunder to close out the month of March 30th. And always a good measuring stick game there. But again, I don't want to do the too much of looking ahead, but that Thunder team also playing such a great brand of basketball right now.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, look, this March run, like initially, like before March came around, people were looking at like, oh, this is going to be a soft part of the Pistons schedule, and March has turned into an absolute living hell for the Pistons. Injuries, like it's been ridiculous. And now coming up, like Washington, like they should be able to handle the game tonight. But like after that, Lakers are 10-1, I think, in their last 11.
Yeah.
Atlanta, I think, has won 10 straight.
10 straight. They're the hottest team in the league.
Yeah.
The Pelicans, I believe, are 16-10 in their last 26. They're playing well.
Better, yes.
Mini is now 4th seed. OKC, Toronto just beat the Pistons, and they're playing well. Then you got Mini again. Orlando's been playing well since the All-Star break. Paolo's been a lot better since, like, all of a sudden. And then you got Charlotte after that, too, and Charlotte's playing like
they're hooping.
Bro, Charlotte's been going crazy. So it's like all of a sudden this like weaker part of the schedule is now you don't got Cade. These teams are playing better. You're dealing with injuries and like the best thing for the Pistons is they built themselves a 3.5 game lead and they had the tiebreaker over the Celtics. So it's basically like a 4.5 game lead. So we'll see if they can hold on to that. But man,
and that's the beauty of sports, man. That's why when you talk about winning a championship, it's difficult outright. It's just it's a difficult thing to do. So many things have to go your way. So when I hear people say, "Oh, we should shorten the season," no, why would we shorten the season? Come on, man, that's part of it. I've never heard anybody say we should shorten the length of time a doctor should go to school to become a doctor.
No, that's just cool.
I've never heard anybody say, you know what, law school is too long. Let's cut law school in half so you guys don't have to learn as much and do as much and be as experienced as much. Dude, I've never heard anybody say that.
No, that's
a good
analogy.
It's what it is. It's been 82 games. It should stay 82 games, and it's a race to see who can stay fit, who can last. Oh, and then that's part of the beauty of it. That's why when you win a championship, man, you've conquered the world. You feel like you've conquered the world because like it's exhausting. And it should be. It shouldn't be, oh, we want everybody fresh. No, you play the entire season. You can't be. It's like working. When you go to work every day and you're tired, it's natural.
Right.
It's nature. So
and there's a lot of luck that goes into it too. Like luck plays into every year, everyone winning a championship. There's luck, injury, like all that stuff plays into a season long, aspiration to win a championship.
Dude, when I played with the Lakers, when we won that third one in a row, I was there for the three-peat. We don't win if Vlade doesn't tip the ball out to Robert Horry and Robert Horry hits the three. We don't win that series if that don't happen. People don't understand how fine of a line it was for us not to win that. You know?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the Pistons, if Tayshaun Prince doesn't block Reggie Miller, we're talking a little different now.
Yep.
Because so many fine, minute things that take place that people forget about because you hold the trophy up. But you look at the journey to get there, it's like, dude, we were in New Jersey, and we had to win in New Jersey on the road.
Oh yeah.
We had I think it was game 7.
Was it game 7 or game 6?
Was it 6 or 7? I can't remember.
I can remember. I can remember where I was being in the living room. We used to bring out the bobbleheads and the posters for the good, the good mojo and everything.
I just remember us saying when we were getting ready to leave, we were packing to go to LA.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Not coming home. I love that.
That's how much confidence we had.
Was that the series where Chauncey hit the half court?
Mm-hmm.
We lost that game at home.
Yeah.
That's the series.
Oh, you got, I didn't. Silly me. I didn't even know the Pistons ended up losing that game.
We lost that game in overtime.
Yep.
That's why we had to go to Jersey and win.
Yep. That's crazy.
That lets you know how young I am. I didn't even. That's a highlight I watched on YouTube. I didn't see none of that.
Oh man, I can remember going nuts in my living room, man, because I would have been lost. Yeah. I would have been like early elementary school, but like enough where you're a kid and those are like the formative years, But all right, let's do our Q&A to wrap up and get on out of here. Final segment. Get those questions ready during the ad break, and we will bounce around a little Q&A next on the Locked On Pistons Squad Show. Today's episode of the Locked On Pistons Squad Show is brought to you by our good friends at 5 Hour Energy. All right, the NFL draft isn't the only draft that's going on. That's right. We've got the 5 Hour Energy draft. Get ready. We got all kinds of flavors on the board. 18 of them, in fact. 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options like confetti craze, fruity rainbow, or even cotton candy. There's something for everyone. The board is set. The flavors are ready. I've got my number 1 pick for you in the 5 Hour Energy draft this week. It is the confetti craze. This is a new one on the board. And you know what? It's delicious because it's that perfect blend of rich and buttery, freshly baked confetti cake, smooth vanilla frosting, and a sprinkle of sweetness in every sip. It's that sweet birthday cake inspired flavor, notes of vanilla frosting, and the sprinkles as well. Sprinkles are for winners. Smooth dessert-like taste profile. It's the perfect kick you need and gives you that energy as well. It's a rich, indulgent sweetness from start to finish. That's why it's my number 1 pick, the confetti craze. But don't take my word for it. You got to try it at 5hourenergy.com. Also available on Amazon. 18 different flavors to choose from. Some of the classics, some of the new ones. It's all up to you and who you're picking first. So head on over to 5hourenergy.com for the flavor draft. Also available on Amazon. All right, we wrap up the show. It's been an adventurous show. You know what? And like I said earlier in the program, guys, this was our first show with breaking news, substantial news, and kudos to us for working through it. We got Dr. Koo talking to all the different medical experts out there. We've got optimistic Lindsey Hunter helping the folks at home realize that the sky is not falling. And now one of my favorites,
except in Ohio.
Yeah.
Lindsey has brought so many new things to my attention in this podcast that I have to go look at after this.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we got videos to watch. We got all kinds of stuff here. But wanted to get going on the Q&A. So let me find one in here and go ahead and get those questions fired up as well in the comments. And there was one that I wanted to pull up in particular, and now I can't find it. Where did it go?
There's one here from Between the Lines at 208.
Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's go with that one. From between the lines at 2:08. There it is. For Lindsey and Koo, how would you motivate the Pistons and maybe any player in particular if you were in the locker room right now? Lindsey, you want to tackle that one first?
Well, the first thing is I don't think as an athlete, as a player, you don't really need somebody to motivate you. And if you do, then there lies the problem. You know, so I think these guys, hearing the news of Cade going down, probably knew within themselves that, okay, we got to really step up, guys. We got to come together and we got to do what we got to do till our leader comes back. And I think that's how everybody will feel. There's no doubt this team has been resilient all year. This team is somebody's always stepped up, regardless to who was out. Now, I don't even know when is Stu coming back.
The last we got, I think like 2 days ago, they said he would be reevaluated in a week.
So we're missing two of our vital parts of our team that help us go. So guys are going to get an opportunity to step up, and nothing really needs to be said. Everybody knows what they have to do. And as a player, you know what you have to do. Like, you know, man, I got to be ready. If that's getting extra shots, if that's getting extra work, whatever you got to do to prepare yourself for this run without our stars, then you got to do it.
Yeah, I agree with Lindsey. I don't think you have to motivate anybody. I agree. If you do have to motivate someone to go out there, you probably are, you know, in the wrong business.
You're the
but motivate's probably the wrong word. But I'm sure some of the, especially like Sasser and Jenkins, probably look at like as an opportunity. They're probably not excited that someone went down, but like look at it in like a silver lining of, okay, well, I have an opportunity here in front of me. This is my chance to really ball out here with the extended time. So I think it's more so just that. But like Lindsey said, I think everyone in the locker room sees that their leader, their best player just went down, and they're going to want to hold down the fort till he gets back. I think I said this earlier, one of the positives I was able to come up with earlier when I was just completely down in the dumps on the podcast was if the Pistons, if let's say Cade were to miss the rest of the season and then come back for the playoffs, if the Pistons were able to go into the playoffs with knowing Cade's coming back and those players were able to say, we held on to the 1 seed. We lost Cade, but we were able to hold on to the 1 seed. We held off the Boston Celtics. Again, you don't want to have Cade out, but I'm sure that brings like a positive energy going into the playoffs. Like, Cade's coming back. We stepped up. We did our job. We held it down. We're in a good spot still. We didn't lose anything. And now we got our guy back. We did everything. And I feel like that can generate some kind of positivity for the team heading into the playoffs. But my main thing is that you don't want to be the team that peaked too early. And I still want the Pistons to, you don't want to go into the playoffs not playing well. So like even without Cade, you still want to be able to put on some good tape. Like Lindsey mentioned earlier, if the offense struggles, is what the defense has to be. What we need to see the defense get back to whatever. And if you get some wins with it, that'd be great. But need to see that defense come back together. That should be able to happen. So I think they don't need to be motivated. I think they're already motivated enough, and they know the opportunity they have in front of them.
For sure. This one's not really a question, more of a statement. And we touched on the second part of it, but not the beginning. From Freight Train J, we need B-Ball Paul and Duren in the lineup. And we talked at length about Duren, but I mean, B-Ball Paul, that's another good role player that now can take his previous role and step up a little bit and enhance it, because it's going to need that type of all hands on deck, which is pointing out the obvious. But I just think that was a good point to bring in Paul there, because it is another guy on the team that you want to have contributions from.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if JB does some like wonky lineups without Cade. Like, I wonder, like, this is always the thing. And Lindsey, actually, I'd love to hear your thoughts as someone who coached in the league at one time. I always think, like, when stuff like this happens, I think, like, all right, so does the coach go with, okay, we lost Cade and his offense, so I need to try to supplement the offense. So do we see some, like, Duncan and Herter lineups to try to give some more spacing, and then Jenkins at the point, and then Duren, and try to have Tobias out there with us, so now you just have spacing, and you try to fill in some of the offense that you lost from Cade? Like, do you try to do that? Or do you go the route of, okay, well, we're not going to be able to replicate Cade's offense. We're not really going to try to do that. Instead, we're really going to double down on our defense. And now you get a lineup of, Paul Reed, Jalen Duren, Asar, and then, fill in the blanks. Like, do do you see some wonky lines like that where maybe he tries to elevate the offense a little bit more with Cade out? Or do you see some wonky lines where he really just quadruples down on defense to try to create turnovers? I'm always interested in seeing that. Is that something that wherever one of the teams you were on a coaching staff for, Lindsey, did you guys ever think about stuff like that? Was that ever like, this guy is out? Is that something that's ever come up, or is that more just like fans or outside the building people thinking that way?
Well, first of all, I've never coached a team that had a player like Cade.
Fair enough.
So it was no me thinking about who I just want to put the best lineup. But being on being coaching like let's say when I was with the Warriors, and maybe we didn't have Steph for a game. Things change. Like you have to be able to adjust on the fly. Like Coach Jackson did a great job of always being able to manufacture points without Steph. But at the end of the day, you miss guys that can do special things. Like that's why that's why they have the honors that they have. That's why Cade's up for MVP. That's why, he's probably going to be a first team All-NBA, because those are things you can't replace. So you have to figure out another way. And for us, I think the Pistons defensively is that way. I think we figure out how to, become really, really sharper and better defensively, so we can't create turnovers, get out in open court, so guys, we won't have to be bogged down in half court and they can load up on Duren. So those are going to be some things that JB is going to have to ponder and think about and figure it out.
All right, no doubt. We got time for one more, a good old hypothetical to end the discussion here from our guy Chan 6683. Lindsey, who would be more dominant in today's NBA? Grant Hill in their prime, Grant Hill, or prime Rasheed Wallace?
Who would be more dominant? I think that's hard to say, because those
different.
Two guys are those are two special talents right there. like people forget how great Grant Hill was. Grant Hill was in the MVP talks when Michael Jordan was dominating the league. So that just tells you how good he was. And we know where Rasheed was. Like Rasheed could shoot the three. Rasheed could post, pass. I mean, there's nothing Rasheed Wallace couldn't do on a basketball court, and as well as Grant Hill. So those are two. I mean, I got to play with those guys. I got to be around them and see just how great they both were, and they both were exceptional talents.
Yeah, I'll say from someone who didn't play with them, I've always said that Rasheed was like, if you want to talk about, people always say, what if this guy played in this area? What if this guy played? I feel like Rasheed is one of the best examples of, man, what if Rasheed played in this? Rasheed would, I feel like he would absolutely be insane if he played in this era. He was like a stretch big before there was stretch bigs. He was an insane defender. They probably would have him play a lot of five nowadays. I feel like Rasheed would be insane, but Grant, people talk about what ifs. I feel like Grant might be like the biggest what if. I feel like he gets disrespected and left out. I'm going to go with Grant. I think Grant could have been like, I mean, he already was. He ended up getting, a fine career despite.
But let me tell you, let me tell you this, and I've said this several times, even on our crossover podcast, we talked about this what ifs. Grant Hill, LeBron would be chasing Grant Hill if Grant Hill never got hurt.
Bro, he was crazy. Like, even someone that wasn't alive, bro.
So in my opinion, Michael Jordan is so far ahead of everybody that I just don't think anybody can ever get there. If Grant Hill had stayed healthy, he'd be right next. He'd be the second coming. We'd be talking about Grant, and Bron would be chasing him. That's how good he was.
Yeah, Grant was insane, bro.
Monster.
Wow, that is. I mean, I like growing up, Rasheed was just my all-time favorite player. So it's so cool hearing you break it down and Ku, I agree. Like, and Rasheed was insane. Like, there was games he took over, and just today's NBA would just be even more tailored to his game. And
you can't touch him. Oh my God.
Yeah, the versatility he had. But all right, guys, this has been a blast. It always is. We'll catch everybody again same time next week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Set up those notifications just in case we go at a different time. Like today's video, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Audio version, it's available and everything by now. But have a great rest of your day, everybody, and we will see you next time on the Locked On Pistons Squad Show. Goodbye.